I'm just curious. And one thing that always stuck with me with the 9/11 Bush administration is when he said stay the course. To me, it sounded like it meant rise to the challenge of your convictions. Because if you really think about it, it wasn't a message of unwavering dogmatism, as some people might view it as, but more of an aspect of standing firm with your views in a decisive but, well, I don't know. That's where it's kind of hard to say. A decisive but yet goal oriented direction. And when you have a goal oriented direction, that means you do make course corrections. Because a course is a journey. And that journey is an important aspect of achieving your goal. Now, I made a lot of points about how there's a dichotomy of partisan politics where it just seems like no matter whose side you're on, it's just that the other side is wrong. And facts do come into play in this, but it really depends on your value system. It honestly really does. And viewing it from both sides, I mean, a social conservative atheist, I've taken God out of my conservatism, and as an economic moderate, I've taken economics out of my conservatism. That leaves about a third of my conservativity intact. And, and you begin to question, is it just a comfort zone? Is it just cheerleading? Or is it some aspect of my personality? Oh, well, I think it's a few things. And you could say 9/11 and other things like that could be one of the main issues. Some people say they took it for a joyride. I'm wondering if they didn't really do what needed to be done at the time. Now, of course, did they do what they only thought they needed to do? That's hard to say, especially within light of things like the PNAC, Partnership for a New American Century, and how Alman Chalabi, well, the guy who tipped off the information that led to the pipe, I forgot that term, stovepiping, which is information funneling of intel and espionage like information from a source directly to a cabinet without the intervention of the military or their analysts and the Pentagon and various organizations, which I don't think is a good idea because it leaves an aspect of false information being used to make very bad choices. I've left comments here and there on people's pages, oh, what about the WMD quotes? Democrat quotes. And it's very convenient how people forget those. But yet, it's also very interesting how other people use them, and even myself. You know, let's see. What else did I say? Well, it's just I've always said that there's an objectiveness that needs to be held by people if they're going to be standing with the convictions that they say they support. And that can't be a one-way street. You can't be a former Bush supporter and support many aspects of the federal government and then turn around and be a Tea Party member and just chuck all that out the window like it's a game of baseball and now you're playing on the outfield while you're trying to strike the other guy out when he's at bat at administration. That's not the way it should work. And we need to stop that. And I don't know how that's going to be reformed, except I generally think that all aspects of the federal government are becoming a problem. And yes, I didn't think so when it was the Lamo terrorists that were going to get us. I was all for the Patriot Act. I was for Homeland Security. I was for military funding up to wazoo. Well, and then, of course, it impacted me personally, and then, of course, there's some very critics, the people who I was despising for their contentious disrespect for the cause, made some very valid points also, to my chagrin. If I could trust that, of course. But some of it seemed very self-evident. So, there it is there. But the reason all this really bothers me, to be honest, is because I made up my mind in the 2001 attack that conservatism is where I was going to stay. I wasn't going to sway in the wind anymore. Because I had noticed that. I had found myself going from this view to that view. Just flotsam in the political back and forth. The inside and the outside. And for whatever else it was worth, I was going to find my political views and I was going to stand by them. And then you find out political views are something that no one even in politics stands by. So that's pretty interesting right there, So, maybe one day we'll forgive, but we'll never forget. And I think that's a very important point to remember too. Just in case any of you people out there wonder why some of us are a little preoccupied. It's not always what you say. And it's not always what we say either. And who's we and they and thee. I thought it was just all of us. Don't know. Well, that's enough of that. Okay, have a good day.